Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. And listen, people, don't get upset because Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford are now rematching. No matter what weight, it's not going to be for undisputed. And I'm going to tell you right now, Errol Spence said, whether he wins or loses, that he just, 147 is just not a weight that he wants to fight at. He's outgrown it. He said it's hard to make. He's not young anymore. It's just not worth putting his body through what he puts it through just to go in there and fight. He doesn't feel it's safe, and it's like the ship has sailed as far as him making 147. He happened to lose, and for me, I'm going to be honest with you. I would have liked to see the rematch happen so Errol Spence would get an opportunity for that undisputed distinction. We know he didn't want to fight at 147. And even with it being, if the fight rematches at 154 and if Crawford still had all four belts at 147, many people believe that there would have been some kind of exception made to where that rematch would have been for the undisputed distinction at 147. Now, I'm going to tell you, that to me seems impossible. But I'll also tell you this. Not too long ago, Suleiman was trying to make that damn Spence and Thurman fight at 154 before the WBC strap for 147. Now, that had all of us scratching our heads. Like, how could he even entertain doing something like that? Long story short, never came to fruition. Spence was about to fight Keith Thurman. Then he got the phone call in March, changed the direction that Spence and his career was going. But let me tell you something. In my opinion, with Errol Spence, I'm not sure he should even care about the rematch with Crawford, because even if he wins, matter of fact, if it's at 154, even if they have some weird exception to the rule, and the fight happens at 154 for all of Crawford's belts at 147, which should not happen. But I'm tell you, the fact that Suleiman was just entertaining doing some weird crap with that WBC belt and Thurman and Spence, I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that he got the other sanctioning bodies on board because of that dollar bill on the secret society, if they made something like that happen. But long story short, either way it goes, it seems to me like Errol Spence has no chance on fighting for a title in his next fight, because his next fight's against Crawford. Seems like he's going to be at 154. And there's no belt on the line because Crawford's 3 belts as of right now. He still has those 3. They're just fighting a rematch. So what does Errol Spence hope to get out of this? To just prove that he could have done better against Terrence Crawford? Let me tell you something, man. When Crawford expresses interest in moving up to 154, Spence expresses interest in moving up to 154. You would think that they would be moving up to 154 for a mega fight. Let me ask you this. Do you really think Crawford versus Spence at 154 is a mega fight? Right? Do y'all think that's a huge event, a must-see attraction? Now, how about Spence against Zoo? Crawford against Zoo? Interesting, right? Shit, how about Spence against Charlo? Crawford against Charlo? Interesting, right? Even both of those guys against Erickson Lubin or Fundora are one of the big names at 154. A lot more interesting than seeing Crawford and Spence get back into a mashup, crash up. And the reason I say that is because I truly believe most people anticipate the same outcome at 154 as what we saw when they fought at 147. But I will say this. Spence does deserve a right because they did agree to a contract, and in that contract they agreed to a rematch. So Spence activated a rematch clause. He does deserve the right to get back in the ring with Crawford. However, I'm wondering, because I like to do the critical analysis. Now that Spence, for the most part, knows But I guess maybe he doesn't know. But what he does know is Crawford is no longer undisputed. But let's just say in a quirky world that the rematch with Crawford would have at 154, right? And we're just having a conversation. This is taking it to the stupid at its finest. That those 4 belts from 147 would still be on the line, right? Let's just say that they did some crazy crap like that. I think that's motivation that would have been more motivation for Spence. But now knowing that those belts aren't on the line, right, which they should not be on the line. They should be not, because Crawford only has 3. None of those belts should be on the line if they fight at 154. I'm telling you, if they do that, I swear, we just all hold hands, kumbaya, and jump off a bridge. But is that less motivation for Errol Spence? Because basically he and Crawford are just fighting. Now we know the money should be good, but he's not going to get as much as Crawford, I don't think. Crawford's the big man now. So, and he got the win. So I don't really know what's the motivation for Errol Spence. I would think there'd be more motivation than going and fighting a guy like Zoo, but that's not going to be the case because Crawford gets first dibs on that. So I don't really know what to say, but I'll tell you this. Somebody was saying, well, Spence, as he goes up in weight, that Spence should be stronger. So even if he doesn't fight Crawford, they still think, while Spence has some fight in him, he should still look for the Canelo fight. Listen. People, nothing wrong with a conversation. And on occasion, I won't hold my horses and I'll take it to the stupid. But that's an extreme case of taking it to the stupid. The Spence will get stronger as he puts weight on, and he'll get in there and get a win over Canelo Alvarez. I don't see how people come up with this stuff, you know what I'm saying? But what I'll tell you is, for Spence and Crawford both, it looks like at least for Spence, his path to undisputed, he's back in the back of the line now because it looks like he's going to be at 154 if he even continues his career. And for Terence Crawford, it seems to be pretty optimistic. Some light at the end of that tunnel. As long as he can hold on to that WBO belt. And I think he will. I think he's had that belt for almost 8 years. So I think he'll hold on to it. Okay? But we just have to wait and see what happens. But I just don't see the motivation for Errol Spence because the way it's supposed to work out, they rematch at 154. He should be fighting for any belts. It's just a rematch to prove that, hey, I could have given more. And here I am now. Instead of a half full cup, I got a full cup. And watch how I come in here. And even if I don't win, you're going to see a better Errol Spence. So to me, the money is the motivation, obviously, but none of it makes sense. So, and I wonder if Al Heyman and everyone could have anticipated the way the cards have kind of fallen. Errol Spence loses. Okay. But rematch time, I wonder if they really thought to themselves, he can go into the rematch with Crawford, but it won't be for undisputed at 154, or were they thinking that maybe he'll try it at 147? But did they figure that the damn IBF will come and snatch that belt off Crawford and do what they did? So now Errol Spence has no chance in hell at fighting anybody anytime soon for an undisputed distinction. So I think Errol Spence's goal has kind of gotten away from him. And if he's going to continue fighting, I just think he has an uphill battle trying to become undisputed at 154. I just don't think he can do it. And I'm not hating on him. I think it's tough for him. And I want to see how he performs. I just don't want to see him fight Crawford. I just have a feeling he gets hurt. But let's see him fight somebody else. And if he's bigger, if he's stronger, if he looks good, then wow, maybe he has an opportunity. But, I'll tell you this, man, I just think it's an uphill battle for him. And I don't want to see that man get hurt. He's got plenty money, beautiful children, beautiful family. That man is in the breeze, cool as a fan, but he has his own goals, his own aspirations, his own motivation. But for me, I just think it's kind of, when I sit here today thinking about it, I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy that this man's about to rematch, and I'm here thinking for undisputed, and I had to tell myself, hey, there's no more undisputed. Errol Spence is not. He's only fighting for his name, for his character. You know what I mean? That's it. But I don't know, man. We'll see. But bottom line, Al Heyman. That's a picture of him when he was young. You ain't gonna find that picture too many places. Twitter always wins, right? But that's Al Heyman over there, and I'm not sure that they planned this out properly, man. But hey, it is what it is at this point. But to me, I don't know. I think Errol Spence shouldn't care about rematching Terrence Crawford because he's back at square one. Because I was thinking if it's at 147, he's back at square one with 3 belts. But it's not going to happen at 147 is what we think. You know, nobody really knows what weight is going to happen at. But nonetheless, if it was at 147, I mean, he wins. He's 3 belts, so he's back at square one. And then he's got to figure out, he got to go fight Boots. But it looks like he's going to be at 154, so it is what it is, man. Uphill battle. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.